Hi, I'm Scott Quinlan from Solace Financial, and this is my weekly update for my clients, friends and family. Well, the share market hasn't moved too much this week. It's moved up 0.2%, but the real news is about the US. The US this week hit an all-time record high on the S&P 500, one of their main stock market indexes. And this is now higher than it was before the global financial crisis and before the global pandemic started. How can this be, especially when there's still 2.4 million active COVID-19 cases in the US? Well, the stock market is a forward-looking prediction machine. It's looking in advance 6 to 12 months, and it's predicting that in 6 to 12 months, things are going to be fine in the economy, and COVID-19 is probably not going to be around or affect anything. This week, Telstra announced their profit down 14.4% from last year, and they kept their dividend the same as last year, and this represents a dividend yield of 5.1%. Now, if you use your home as security to borrow money, you can generally borrow money at 3% these days. So you could potentially borrow money and invest in Telstra shares paying a 5.1% dividend, therefore picking up the 2% per year difference between the two. Now, this is called positive gearing, and it's something that's quite unusual, especially this kind of difference between how much you can borrow for and what your dividend return is. But when you look a little bit closer, Telstra's dividend yield, they have a greater than 100% payout ratio, which means that the amount of dividend that they're paying out is more than what their net profit is each year. So they're having to dip into their cash reserves to pay out their dividend. So is it sustainable that this dividend will continue? The other point to make just about Telstra is their profit has reduced by 50% over the last 2 years, but their share price remains the same. So 2 years ago, share price was the same as what it is today, but their profit has halved. These are all interesting things, and this is why just looking straight at something like the dividend yield or PE ratio is not enough when considering an investment like this. The other interesting news that I saw this week was Apple had just hit a $2 trillion valuation in their market. Now, to put this in perspective, if the average property price in Brisbane, both house and unit, was $500,000, then Apple's valuation is worth more than 4.5 Brisbanes. So all of the property value in Brisbane, if it was $500,000, more than 4.5 of those. So really, so very high valuation. All of the information in this video is not personal advice. Please don't go out and buy Telstra shares or Apple without giving me a call first. And I will try and do another one of these next week. Thanks very much for your time.